Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to go over installing your new Freedom Coast brake levers on your Magura brakes. The install for these levers is quite simple and does not require a brake bleed. All you're going to need is a 1/8 inch punch and a hammer. We also supply an alignment guide that will come with all of your brakes. Before getting started, it is important to note that the install process varies slightly depending on your brakes if you have a BAT pin or if you have a model with no BAT pin. You will select this at purchase depending on which brake model you have, and we will have a list on the screen right now showing which models come with a BAT pin and which models come without. One more quick thing before we get into the install. These brake levers allow you to squeeze the maximum amount of performance out of your brakes, allowing you to tune the exact bite point and reach of each brake independently. Even though the install does not require a bleed, the install and tuning of these levers may shed light on a system that is in need of a bleed. Symptoms of a system needing to be bled could be a wandering bite point when the brakes get hot or other irregular braking tendencies. All right, that's enough talk. We're going to show you how to install using a BAT equipped brake. However, the install varies just slightly, and we'll go over any of those differences for a non-BAT model as we go. All right, let's go ahead and get into the install. For filming purposes, we are doing this with a brake not installed on a bike. However, you can absolutely do this install with your brake still installed on your handlebars. So the first step is going to be removing this BAT. If you have a non-BAT model, you can absolutely skip this step. To take the BAT out, you're going to push down on this dial here and give it a quarter turn, and it will come right off with a spring under it. Make sure you set this and the spring in a safe location. Now you can pull the BAT out by pushing up from the bottom. You may need to actuate your brake just slightly to be able to get the BAT out. Set that aside as well for later use. Now you're going to pull this cover off. Again, for non-BAT models, that is going to already be gone because it does not come with one. And that is going to be the end of the differences for the BAT and the non-BAT models. You also will have another cover on the bottom side, which you will need to remove as well. Set these down with the adhesive up so that you can reuse them later. Now what we're going to need to do is remove this pin here to remove our stock lever. This, from now on, is going to be the same between BAT models and non-BAT models. This pin only comes out one direction. When you have your brake lever on the left-hand side of the bike, or most people's front brake, the pin is going to push down. If you are on the right-hand side of the brake, or most people's rear brakes, you will be pushing the pin up from the bottom. Now here I'm going to put this on top just of a roll of electrical tape just so I can punch this down. However, on your bike, you should be able to lightly tap this pin out. You're going to take your punch, center it on your pin, and lightly tap until your pin comes all the way out. Now I'm trying to get lucky here and not punch my pin all the way through the bottom. If you do, it is not a concern. You can absolutely just reinstall it. But if you are careful and you punch it out the right amount, you can leave your pin installed in your master cylinder, which will help you later on. So now we are ready to install our Magura lever. Now you're going to get your lever shipped to you with your configured options already installed. So this is a purple lever with gold hardware, but you will get yours however yours was optioned. What you're going to do is take your cam and you're going to install it into your brake with the machined dots. Now your cam may be a different color, but you're going to use these machined dots and put that closest to the lever here. Now we're going to take our alignment pin and just gently slide that in. It should go in with little persuasion. And all that does is hold this cam in place so that it does not wander around while you're installing the lever. Now that you have your alignment pin installed with the cam and the two machine dots will sit closest to the lever like so, you will want to dial out this reach adjust dial here until your cam can sit flush against the lever. That's just going to make this install a little bit easier. Now I'm going to slide the lever into the brake, showing that the blue alignment guide or alignment cam is in place. Then I'm going to flip the lever over, hold it in place, flip the lever over, and I am going to drive this pin back into place. Okay, now that I have this pin most of the way through, you can see that our alignment pin has started to come through the other end. I'm going to remove that now, and I'm going to drive this back through the remaining amount using my punch. Now, if you remember when you pulled this out, this pin was basically flush with the lever body. So gently drive this the final amount through. Make sure that your pin is evenly pressed through on both ends of the brake lever. If you need to press it through more on one side, you can just use your pin and hammer and make sure that it is even. For those of you with the non-BAT model, you are now done with the install. However, please stick around till the end of the video because we're going to go over some key adjustment features as well as some things you're going to want to look out for. For those of you with the BAT model, you're now ready to install your covers back on. So you're going to want to take those, slide them in from the end like this, and stick them back over. One on the top and one on the bottom of this lever, like so. And now all that's left is installing the BAT. Now, occasionally this cam, while you're fiddling around with the caps and everything, may roll inside of this BAT hole. And all you'll want to do is dig it back out with your pin and make sure that you push it all the way out so that you can insert this BAT back in. Mine has been pushed out of the way, and I'm going to insert my BAT with the flat edge the same way that I took it out, which is going to complete the line right here. Now I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to install my spring. I'm going to take my cap, push it down, turn it a quarter turn, and my BAT is installed. And that is it for your lever install. Now that we have the lever installed, you can see that your lever is a little bit floppy. Now we are going to go over the adjustments for this lever and getting your brake lever all set up so that it is perfect for you. First, let's give a name to our two adjustment dials here. First, we have our reach control, and reach is going to set the distance of your brake lever from your bar. Second, we're going to have bite control. This is the same thing as free stroke. This is going to determine how far your brake lever will pull before it fully stops. So the first thing you're going to want to adjust is your reach control, and you're going to want to do this by turning it in and setting the brake lever in a position where it's comfortable for you on the bar. Now you may want to experience with setting your reach closer than you may think, because now that you can control your bite, your lever will not have as much stroke as it usually does, and you can put your reach in a much more comfortable position than what you may have used in the past. Next, you're going to want to turn in your bite in order to set up your brake to where it stops where you are comfortable. Now, it is important to note that what makes this lever stop flopping is the pressure from the master cylinder pushing back on the pin on this bite control knob. So you're going to want to have that at least somewhat turned down in order to provide pressure on the lever so that it does not flop on you. Let's run through a scenario right now. Say you're out on the trail and you just finished a descent and your brake lever pulls too close to the bar for your liking. How do you fix this? Well, what you're going to want to do is turn in your bite control in order to bring your bite point out further. We are not going to change our reach control, meaning that our reach will stay in the exact same position. To do this, we're just going to turn our bite knob here until it moves our bite point out further on the lever. Now, as you can see, I had a little bit of trouble turning that bite knob. If that happens to you, an easy solution is going to be loosen your reach control a certain amount of clicks. You can count those clicks so you can come back to that position. Let your brake lever out. You can now adjust your bite control slightly easier because it will be under less load from the piston. Then pull your lever back down and add your clicks back into your reach control. Now my reach has remained in the exact same position and my bite control has gotten further away from the bar. So my entire lever throw has decreased. This is a pro level brake lever, and it is important that you understand what is going on in your braking system. It is possible to over adjust this brake and cause your pistons to prematurely grab your rotor. And you want to make sure that you do not adjust your bite control lever too far to where you start having either your brakes drag or when your brakes heat up, your lever will start to wander out. The bite point of your lever will start to wander out when it heats up. If you are getting that issue, no worries. All you will need to do is take about a half turn to a quarter turn off of your bite control. Start there and keep moving it out until you do not have that issue anymore. The reason for this important note is if you adjust your bite control too far, you will be able to push your piston past the point where it allows the fluid in your line to bleed into your reservoir. If you do so, pressure can bleed up in your line and it will have nowhere to go, and it will cause your brake to get harder and harder until eventually it will start to lock up on you. As stated earlier, all you will need to do is take a small turn off of your bite control until that issue subsides. You may want to start adding clicks back into your reach in order to still get your bite to feel exactly the same as it did previously. It is important to note that this issue here is when you have your brakes adjusted to the extreme. This is something that most riders probably won't experience, but we do want to give you the education so that if you do experience this, you know how to fix it. That is all you need to know about installing and adjusting your Freedom Coast Magura brake levers. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.